Okay, again, these are simple, but they're fairly dynamic in how you see it. So we'll, as we build up the other categories, we can add the other factors in, the cardinal, fixed, mutable. The other things start adding into this. So you tend to see these join together quite quickly, but it's enough to see this projective thing on all these 6 signs that are projecting and not reflecting. And when you see the feminine signs, they've picked up the attitude of the daylight increasing, nighttime increasing, daylight is greater, nighttime is greater, what season they're in, and they're going to reflect on it. So if Mars is in a reflective sign, in a feminine sign, it's not going to be quick to project. It's not going to be quick to act. It's going to take in a little bit before it does it. It's going to take in an impression before it acts, or it's going to measure what it's doing. The projected Mars isn't going to measure what it's doing. It's going to just blatantly be pushing it. Whereas in the reflected sign, it's complicated. It's going to measure it first. It's not going to put it, I'm going to take this in first. This happened first, so then I can do this. Sounds really simple, but if you're trying to measure the difference between athletes or what's going to make someone achieve success or not, or to see how someone's going to train, or you're setting up a training program or coaching program, you have to see this. You have to see how they use energy. It's true, we have to see each planet. We have to see what someone wants, because what they want, Venus is going to seduce Mars and get them to get it. But the Mars in the feminine side is going to be measuring whether they're okay or not, how it's going or not. It's going to be more judgmental and less just blatant and impulsive. So every planet rules the masculine and the feminine sign. So Mars in Aries is the projected. Mars in Scorpio is the competitive, jealous. What are you doing? What are you doing? We're doing this. It's, I've done this, now you owe me. So it has the trust issue around that. Who are you talking to? What's happening? Like, it has that competitive team spirit and can be really sarcastic or negative. But the Capricorn can be disciplined or restrained or paused. Pisces can be a little bit more moralistic about what's right or wrong, or evasive. The Mars and Taurus can be so stubborn around, well, I like this, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to disturb my peace, disturb my contentment. In Cancer, I don't know if I would do something that's not going to make me more secure. If it's going to make me more secure, I don't want it. Less secure, I don't want to do this. And Virgo, I know the best way to do it. Don't tell me how to do it. I don't want to do it in the wrong way. I don't want someone else to tell me how to do it. That Mars, that Virgo element comes in and reflects and affects how the Mars works on a very instinctive level. But if you're trying to understand someone's anger or rage, or someone who's accident, someone has violence problems, or whether it's they're dishing it out or whether they're taking it in, still violence, it's still, you're going to be looking at their Mars. There's times when Mars gets afflicted in transits or progressions where you have to go back and really understand the Mars much better. I mean, by transits, you can get a 1 or 2 year challenge affecting the Mars. By progressions, you can get 20 or 40 year challenges affecting your Mars. And you're jumping into a much deeper understanding of how to work with this. So the yoga of Mars is, it's a hatha yoga. It's how to be physical without hurting things, how to build up strength without hurting things. It's really difficult to do this on its own because we're just animalistic energies without the guidance of Jupiter and the discipline of Saturn and the confidence of the Sun and the intelligence of Mercury and the values of Venus and the security and the basic needs of Mars, of the Moon. Okay. So then we have the seasons, which we've touched on. We went around doing each of the seasons, the winter, the spring, the summer, the fall. But then we get to the modes, the cardinal, the fixed. Each season, the first sign in each season is cardinal, the second sign is fixed, the third sign is mutable. So this is just comment. We know these things about the zodiac. We study it. We remember those things. But here's how we apply it. If Mars is in a cardinal sign, it's going to be pushy. And there'll be 2 projective cardinal signs and 2 reflective cardinal signs, 2 masculine, 2 feminine. So the Mars in Aries or the Mars in Libra, they're going to be pushing to make things happen, pushing just on impulse or pushing to force a relationship. And now it may seem a little indecisive or not that aggressive in Libra, but it's pushing with style. It's still trying to push its pleasantness, push its sharing, push the need to be together. Whereas Mars and Aries is pushing to get away from that need to be together. But they each will drive. If they're working in the same office, they're going to run into each other. Any of these signs, if you have a Mars in any of these signs with someone else who has a Mars in these signs, there's going to be competitions for what you consider your priority of how you do it, and intolerance for someone doing it the other way. So even just by thinking about it, we're listening to the class, just by thinking about it, you're starting to, you'll go through these ideas. It becomes a common sense to you. You start to make the associations. Then when you look at someone's chart and you see the Mars, but you want to understand someone Mars, you stop you take 15 minutes and you go through each of the categories and you think about them, relating it to that person. Then you've got the in-depth insight to that Mars. If you just say, oh, Mars in this sign, take the first thing, you're going to get one category, talk on it, and project Mars as just that. And you could miss 9 of the main categories, the other factor, or 5 or 10 of the other factors that are really important. So Cardinal is driving. They're driving to make something happen. With Aries, it's just driving to do what they got to do. In Libra, it's pushing to share, pushing for the relationship, doing everything for you, trying to make it nice, trying to do things so that I'm not just doing it alone, I'm doing it for you. It has the nighttime increasing, and the nighttime is greater half. But Capricorn and Cancers, they're both kind of shy or reserved. They're both reflective signs. Mars in there, it gets perhaps underestimated, but they're very judgmental and very reflective. They reflect on things before they do it. Cancer is going to reflect to see if it's going to make them more secure. They're going to reflect and measure if it's secure. And if something threatens their security, they're going to come out fighting. If you blame them personally, they'll come out fighting. But they're going to react. They need the reaction to do it. If nobody's caring for them, it's going to be hard for a Mars and Cancer to do something. They're usually pushing to get more personal attention and to get more personal security, but that means pushing to feel secure. And if they've done it, then you can come into the world. But come into their world, don't mess with their security. Don't change it. Don't challenge it. They'll react very quickly. And when they react, they'll overemphasize the reaction. So the Mars and Cancer would, towards family things, towards things about security, they're going to push to get it, but they'll fight any criticism or any resistance to those things. So if someone has Mars and Cancer and they want to have a baby, they're going to push to have the baby, whether the partner really wants one or not. It'd be a fighting issue. Mother-in-laws or mothers might be fighting issues. Okay, in Capricorn, the Mars is reflective, but it's pushing, it's cardinal. So it's very inhibited, it's very reserved, it's winter, it's cold, but if they have to, if something has to be done, they will do it. They'll get themselves prepared and they'll go do it. They won't run out of the house in the middle of winter just out in the snow to just get something done. They'll take their time, put their boots and their coats on, and then go do it. They'll fight the cold, but there's a reflectiveness on it. It's very efficient, effective. It's very different than the Aries or the Libra. Aries doing things on impulse. The Libras are doing things to be appreciated, to be nice, to have it make things nicer. Libras are doing things, Cancers are doing things to be more secure, and Capricorn just thinks, oh, that's crazy, I'll do it if it has to be done. And all of them are driving, their Mars is driving with those conditions on it. And so the Mars in Capricorn runs into a bad teacher or a good teacher. It's going to have a strong influence. A bad teacher can affect everyone, but the Mars in Aries would run away from it or try and challenge it. The Mars in Libra would try and do things to make it better. The Mars in Cancer would be pushing to be a little more secure. And the Mars in Capricorn would be doing what it had to do because the teacher's like that. So the Cardinal, that pushing Mars, they're driving, they're pushing. Don't underestimate it. It's very ambitious. It's very ambitious, very strong. When you put it into a fixed sign, it still has strength, but it's not pushing. It can be seen to be pushed, but it's pushing to maintain what it has. It's very determined. The Mars in the fixed signs is very stubborn. It's very determined. I'm doing it this way. Don't change it. I got to do this. They get fixated on how they use their energy. They're consistent. The Mars is the fixed signs. When they're driving their car to work, they'll usually go the same way every day. They're not going to. Mars in a cardinal sign will always go the fastest way and push to get there. Mars, the Scorpio is still pushing to get there, but they're going to have their fixed way of doing it. The stubborn, the determined. So the Mars in these signs, it's consistent. My Mars is in Scorpio. I'm competitive. Someone's trying to do faster than me. If someone's driving faster than me, I'm trying to push faster. If someone's driving slower than me, I'm reacting. That idiot, why they're doing it. It's actually the speed limit, and I got to go faster. So I'm pushing, but it's consistent. That's the Scorpio. I push in relationship and I expect the other person to align with me, not fight with me, and there's struggles that happen around it. So with the Mars and Taurus, they're doing their own thing. Don't expect them to do different. I like this. I'm doing what I want. This is stuff I like. They're going to have that determination around it, but they're going to. It's reflective. This is better than that. Why would I do something I don't want? Why are you trying to make me do something? No, I'm not going to do what I don't want. I'm doing what I want, and they're fixed on it. So same with Leo. I get the attention. I'm getting attention. I'm winning. Don't tell me how to win. I'm winning. Just applaud. Don't put me down. I'll come out fighting. Don't take away my glory or I'll come out fighting. Don't stop me from playing or I'll come out fighting. So you can see this as kids. You put it up to levels of teenagers. You see why a teenager would rebel or fight against authority and people that are pushing them the wrong way or that don't allow them to work in their own way or not channeling it properly. In Aquarius, they know what they're doing. Don't tell me how to do it differently. I know what I'm doing. I know who I know. I know what I got to do. I know. They know it, and they have that fixed ideas, the air coming to the air, but it's the fixed quality of all of these. There's a stubborn quality. The Mars in there, it's tenacious. It's going to hang on. It's going to do things. It'll win or lose. It's still going to be holding forth and fighting or acting out and determined to get this experience. If I don't want to experience, I'm determined not to have that experience. So someone with a fixed Mars could easily attract someone with a mutable Mars, and the mutable Mars would always be, they'd be very fixed in what they're doing. The mutable Mars would be running around it and using their energy in very diverse ways, and they would be functioning very differently and getting very different matrices of experience. So the actual connection to what it is, it's very simple. We're just seeing the cardinal, the fixed mutable, but then we're applying it to how it affects a planet, seeing the energy, seeing the Mars. This is much easier to do when you take one person's chart and just do the one character and add them up together. But in teaching it, I have to go through all of them, and I found this is the best way to kind of do it. Just see each layer and see all these four in there. And people have their Mars in these four signs. They'll be stubborn in their own way, and they'll be fighting each other because the other people are doing it differently, and they're not going to change either. Just when a Mars and Aquarius or Scorpio gets really efficient and they get things down, there's some Mars and Taurus wants to do it their own way, or some Mars and Leo that just wants attention or that are not going to fit into the system. So okay, when you get the mutable modes. The mutable modes, the Mars is going to go out to multiple experience, multitasking, multiple experiences. They want to do several things at the same time. They want too many things. They don't want to be fixed in one relationship. They want to be pushing to prove something. They want to be pushing sometimes, adapting sometimes, juggling something. They want to do a whole variety of things. These are the multitaskers. You see it in a secretary. Someone's being a secretary, they're on the phone, they're talking to someone, they're writing something at the same time, and they're doing several things at the same time. They want to do the homework, listening to the radio, and or watching TV or being on the. So it's having several things going. This ability to adapt and adjust and move around things is very agile. Many athletes have it. Many athletes have in each of these factors, but they're used differently. The fixed signs are very consistent. The pushy will push to drive. The adaptable will be very diversified and have many ways of approaching things. So these signs can usually run circles around others, but they can go out in too many directions and have too many things going on and never finish anything.